Okay, this is a reinforcement of our discussion on the fundamental concepts of community development. There is really a need to stress on this one, although you have been provided with a complete set of handouts, even at the start of the semester. So I'd like to stress on the fundamental concepts of community development. By this, we mean that when we talk of CD, we talk about these things. We talk about this concept. So what's this? What are these? Popular participation. So this is recognized as a very, very important force in achieving development. We believe so much in people's participation. So popular participation here refers to the participation of the people. And we said that CD is actually bridging the gap between the people and the government. So making people active actors of their own development, not only receivers of any project or any development effort, but more so that people being heard in the planning stage. So sila talaga ang dapat na empower so that they can fully participate. So what does it mean to participate? It takes the form of mobilization. So this is an action word. Mobilization of the youth, of the professionals, the local council, the local community action. So this usually consists of acquainting community leaders with the government programs, okay, and endorsement of those urging people's participation. However, um, popular participation is in itself uh, the end. This is the means to development, but this is also uh, a result rather of development. So obstacles of why people do not participate. They lack the knowledge and their leaders, the elected leaders of people's organization on technical matters. And there is complexity of administrative procedure. So we know of people to be simple-minded, so they do not have basic knowledge on the administrative procedures. So what can community development workers do to help people address these issues? So these are actually empowering them, no? Acquainting them with how the government programs work, and then um, we have to acknowledge, we have to inform them, we have to capacitate them, we have to educate them on the technical matters. And while the concept of CD is felt needs, so the idea here revolves around it has to be any development intervention should be based on the real needs ramdam na uh, pangangailangan ng mga tao. There have been many problems of the government, not only of today, but even in the past administrations. The interventions given were not really those that are the actual needs of the people. So, ito ang beauty kung gagawin bottom-up planning. People should be involved in the planning stage so that in the implementation stage, they will take full or optimal participation. Hindi lang sila receivers, but planners as well as to ano ang intervention na dapat na maibigay sa kanila. So it's like pouring a water na hindi naman tumatama doon sa tanim. So nasasayang yung resources, nasasayang yung tubig na hindi naman siya akma doon sa tanim. Or giving the plant a water when in fact ang kailangan ng plant ay fertilizer. Okay? Hindi lang basta tubig. So, there are two types of needs. Consumption-oriented needs. Ito yung, of course, in the traditional community, ito yung physiological needs. No? So, this is the lower level of need. And then, there's another form of felt need. we have development oriented. So this is basically true in an open and progressive community. So city workers, what's our role here? It's to educate the community in discovering the real needs, those which are strategic to development. So sometimes ito ang kanilang sintomas na nararamdaman. So when they are hungry, they need money to buy food. So ang ginagawa ng gobyerno, namibigay ng ayuda. So on and so forth. So that's the patching and a short-term type of response. It does not reinforce the capacity or empowerment of the people. So we have to dwell on bakit ba persistent ang poverty nararamdaman or experienced by this disadvantaged group in the community. So we have to be educating people to point to development-oriented needs. So unless these needs are addressed, palagi at perpetuate talaga itong consumption-oriented. I am understood. City workers have to educate the community in discovering the real needs. The needs of the community may be contrary to the interest of the larger community. So several policy for bringing about change in rural communities should be the highest priority to those local needs whose realization I guess that's very self-explanatory. And then another concept of CD is self-help. Ito ang talagang isang napakagandang trademark ng community development. So self-help. The idea here is to be self-reliant. This is what we are actually teaching people now. When we talk of empowerment, empowerment of the community, empowerment of the people, it means that they are very self-reliant to some point. There are many problems in the community, like, for instance, plugged canal. So should they wait for the government to act? And when they do it or request for government services in that manner, talagang aabutin ka ng siyang-siyang. What can the people do to address such a problem? So the idea, the principle of self-help comes in. Okay, so this is the process by which the people of a locality gather their resources together. It is actually called bayanihan. Okay, so about it is about local initiative. A local initiative talaga siya. So we do not favor something that engenders dependence. However, we promote self-help, self-reliance. So even on the personal level, tayo, bawat isa sa atin, are we too dependent on somebody or someone or something? So the idea here is to be really empowered. When we talk of empowerment, kaya mo ba to stand on your own? Will you need um, somebody to do it for you, or are you able to do it for you? So that's the idea of self-help. And then another concept of CD is institutional building. So the idea here, hindi ito building structure ha, or as that, the physical edifice. But the idea, institution here points to organizations, organizations of people. So this is the process of strengthening the institutional structure of a society to facilitate this process of growth. So it involves not only promotion of organizations to which the population may effectively participate in development. It also provides or includes improvement in the coordination of all services. So the main method of CD is community organizing. When you take away community organizing from CD, it's not CD, it may be just community service or any sort of community intervention. But what is distinct with community development from other development programs is that it gives birth or it strengthens the organic structure, okay, which is composed of people. So it is via the organizations in which people can participate. Saan ba sila nag-meeting? They meet as a group, they discuss matters as a group in the context of the organization. So the idea here is to not only organize people's organizations, because that's supported by law, it's called for by law. And then many development funding or funding for development programs are provided by the government only for organized groups. No? So isang yun, isang parang stimulus yun na mag-organize talaga ang mga tao. However, uh, ang ating, in the context of CD or in the lens of community development, people, we believe in people's organization because it's via it that people can participate, people can exercise leadership, they can discuss matters pertaining them, and because these people have common interests. The process of institution building needs to be intensified. The base of participation in them should be broken. Okay? So ano yung ating major concepts of CD? Popular participation, needs, self-help, and institution building. And then, let me check if this is still recording. Okay. Elements are, I think this is very, very self-explanatory. Okay, because CD is science, it follows through a sequence. It follows orderly, scientific manner. So, meaningful sequence. So problems are identified. So, in this portion, because we believe in popular participation, people should be involved. It's not the development worker that will think about ano kaya mga problema ng mga taong ito, or based on your observation. That can be secondary data observation. However, we have to really live with the people, so that we can identify their problems, or ask for the people directly. And of the many problems, we set the priorities. Given the limited budget, the limited resources and manpower, priorities have to be set. Because to some point, these priorities have resemblance with each other. And then you got the relevant facts. The facts are analyzed. You do the research. This is the research part. Okay. And then analyze the data. You analyze the facts. And then why is this problem occurring in light of these facts gathered? So in CD, we really do systematically data gathering, and then we do or we follow systematic analysis of the data obtained. We do survey, we do research, we do quantitative and qualitative research in the area. And then alternative action plans can be made. So this is planning, the planning stage. What do you do with the data? You understand, you analyze, you get the picture, the profile of the community, and then you analyze or devise action plans. And then you choose which one is executable, and then implement it, and then the results are evaluated. So to sum up, development means planned change. So that is entirely what development is. Dapat piniplan. In CD, the people must be motivated to become active partners. And then we have, this is also important, views on community development. We can view development as a process. We can view CD as a process. May sabihin, meron siyang steps. Okay? Meron progression from one level, one stage to another. And emphasis is always put on the transformation of people in their attitudes and their relationship. You see this one, how qualitative this is for development. criterion for development. So it is really dependent not much on how many buildings are built, how tall is the tallest building, but it's much more on the transformation of people, how successful the development worker. If we are to measure how successful the development worker has achieved or has done or has become, it is by how measuring how transformed are the people in their attitudes and relationships. And then we can use CD as a program. Looking back in the history of CD, so CD in the time of President Magsaysay was implemented in the country or across the country with a 10-year national program. So it can be that on the program. Specifically, projects and activities were designed and implemented across the country. And as a movement, we can view CD also as a movement. So this is not restricted. CD is a movement, meaning institutionalized channel. It is not only restricted to development workers, but the community development movement has gone beyond the barriers. That even in the business sector, they do development works in their corporate social responsibilities. Even the DOST, even the group of engineers, they also do humanitarian works and so on and so forth. So everyone can take part in the life of community development as a movement. So it's going beyond borders. It's going beyond professionals in development work. Okay? As a method, we can use it as a method. So pamamaraan, on the top of method, pamamaraan. So it is practically the means, ito ang paraan to reach the end. Ito yung ating end, the desired development vision. So in the case, we have to consider the SDG, Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. Now, doon tayo pupunta ng sustainable development. It is guided for a particular purpose. So on and so forth. And then the scope of community development. Kaya nga, this is what makes CD a very hard field, difficult field, because it's so encompassive. All the concerns of the community. Yun ang concerns ng community development. Hindi lang siya social, economic, political, and many other aspects, even spiritual or ethical dimension. It aims at the participation at the scope of CD, increasingly large number of people, both at the decision-making and action stages. Its main concern is the community. Okay, so it's the community. CD calls for coordination of all efforts. Anong all efforts ito? Coordination of the government instrumentalities, government agencies, even non-government organizations, financial institutions, even. CD is not an end in itself, but it's a way of working. Since the job of better communities is not likely ever to be finished, the real goal of CD cannot be the solution to any specific problem. The real goal of CD is the development of people who can continue to take leadership responsibly and wisely. Okay. So that's why in community development, the term community here refers to people. People development, ang meaning of community development. So ano yung goal ng CD or goals natin? The development of man The goals of CD: development of man as a member of the community and development for man. Okay, so ano na una? Development for man. We already talked of development for man. Ano ito? The environment, no? Where the society, the physical environment where man lives. Anong nauuna? Nauuna ba dapat itong development for man? So nauuna ang development of man. So talagang empowerment of the people first before we can achieve physical, no? Sustainable physical development of the community. Okay, so this is very, very self-explanatory. Implications of CD. We talk about self-help. We talk about increased income. We talk about the development of right attitudes. Now, regarding development of institutions where people can exercise participation or can simply participate. Involvement of people. Um, Involvement of people in the communities in issues concerning them and government to improve their self-confidence and self-reliance. Okay, community development deals with the growth and sustenance. So, malawak ang saklaw ng community development. Okay, by people and community, we mean the depressed. Ito, talagang pinakalumok, no? The poorest of the poorest part of the population. The poor, the exploited, mga ginagamit, the exploited, the disabled, the devastated people and communities. Okay. And then, ito ay, very, very self-explanatory. I hope you're able to read this one. The set of principles act as guide to CD practice. So in the future, if you really find in your heart to be working with people, like I have very high regard for people who work in development profession or in development field. Kasi higher order of thinking ang nandito. Hindi lang papel ang kaharap mo. Of course, you are going to write a lot of project proposals, a lot of planning, and so on and so forth. Researches. But ang kailangan dito ay yung uh, pagmamahal mo, no, with the people in the community. Because there are really people who undoubtedly are gifted in dealing with people. However, that can also be developed. Okay, and then just continue reading this one. Okay, let's talk about this one. Anong goals? Well, ang goal ng CDI, development of man and development for man. So if we are to parang i-specify natin ito into three main categories, pwede natin i-break down yun, no? The enhancement, we have to enhance people's potentials and capabilities. Yes. We have to make them actively participate through collective actions. Kung sinabi natin collective actions, action as a group, collective, in the process of change and transformation and the promotion of people's well-being and welfare. So itong first two, ito yung sinasabi natin, development of man. At ito naman pangatlo yung sinasabi natin, development for man. Okay? So, to achieve these goals, meron tayong in community development paradigm, meron tayong tatlong areas, no, or interrelated. Interrelated ito. They do not perform outside of each other. Interrelated siya. Ibig sabihin, when you do community organizing, you actually do community education. When you engage in CRM, you actually engage in CO, and at the same time, you engage in community education. So you cannot do one without the others. Okay? So the interrelated fields of CD um, are the following. So number one, we have community education. Of course, education ito, but at the community level. Ano ibig sabihin ito? This is focused on enhancement of people's potentials and capability. I think this is well understood. Education is, of course, very important, no, for social transformation in terms of upliftment of people's welfare and working towards forming alternative structures and power relations. So we really cannot underscore, really cannot understate the importance of education, no, on the personal level and even in the community level. But in the case of community development, so paano natin siya ginagawa ang community education? Do we invite everybody to a seminar at that and then release snacks and then they'll go home? So ganun lang ba? Or is it, of course, it has to be carefully planned. And we expect not only one shot type of community education, but series. Kaya kailangan talaga siyang planin. Okay, so the core here you will find community education, and then um, on the left side, nandito yung value formation. So this is very, very important core of education. Now it tend to change because we believe that development is values oriented. And then another is skills development, yung kakayanan. Ito ang cognitive naman. Ito ang affective domain. Ito ang cognitive domain. So skills development from a person or a state walang kaalam-alam for alternative means to earn living or a living source of income. Dito, we want people to be skilled. Okay? And then, of course, conscientization as a higher order siya. This is about talking or thinking critically as to ano ang sitwasyon. What are the causes, possible causes that engender this situation, this problematic situation, and what are the ways out, legal ways. Okay, so it's conscientization. And then another area of CD going back here is community organizing. So um, there's a separate major course for this. No? Community organizing. This is the core method or process in community development. Kaya ito yung main method. Without it, one cannot engage in developing communities. Bakit kaya? Because this is the process of development from the people. So this it's in community development that we empower people to be the actors. Tayo ay tagaturo lang, mag-empower lang, mag-strengthen lang ng kanilang mga kakayanan. But it has to be with the people. No? It has to be the people who should act as the primary movers of their own society. So it's for the people, by the people, no, from the people, by the people, and for the people. CO is a method which refers to the activities aimed at. I guess this is very, very self-explanatory. This is actually organizing people to work effectively to address their immediate and long-term needs, and then mobilizing people to develop the capacity and readiness to respond and take action in their immediate and long-term needs. So the three areas of CL, just like community education, so navigation area. This one is area based, so geographical location ito no, the physical area like the Farmers Association of Barangay Uno. So the members are coming from Barangay Uno only. And then it's area based or sectoral. We talk about sectors. There's senior citizen sectors. Ito yung mga almost or practically available Okay, and many of them are still able actually. So I find it really, really important to delineate, set a different group, from the senior citizens, set a different group for persons with disabilities. So, dapat iba siya from the senior citizen. And then women, okay, and so on and so forth. And then this one, itong area-based organizations and central organizations can be called or are called primary organizations. So one primary organization that would like to form coalition with a higher level secondary sector organization or one organization, sector organization in the particular areas. No? So lahat ng women's organization, farmers organization, fisher folks, and so on and so forth in Barangay Uno. Yan. Pwede yan. So they can form alliances and do coalition building. Okay. And then another field of community development, major field of city is CRM, because we live in an environment that has readily changed over time, drastically changed over time. Kailangan natin tulungan. So who else will address the problems in the community? Sino ang problema? Sino ang affected ng mga disasters? Tao. That's why we have to make tao active actors, to solve environmental problems. So community resource management, ang meron dito. The formation of social enterprises development. So that, ito mga tindahan, no? Collective tindahan, like that's run by a cooperative. So sa co-op, walang single owner, walang partnership. So it's cooperatives. The owners there are the cooperators, no? Yung nagsisave sa co-op. So that there can be alternative community economic development. No, kung ang mga tao ang may hawak na ang enterprises, na this is actually an alternative to capitalism. Yung mga mayayaman lang yung may kayang mag-put up ng capital and then the bigger return will come back to them. But dito, dahil nga social enterprise siya, composed of many people, many members in the community, sabay-sabay silang aangat. So pag umangat itong social enterprises na ito, magkakaroon ng positive turnout sa economic aspect ng community. And then, of course, we have to pay attention on disaster environment and disaster management. So the idea here is to involve people, no? People's organizations, pwedeng empower, na maging partner sila ng gobyerno, ng local government for that matter, on disaster response, on disaster preparedness, so on and so forth, mitigation. So when you look at the three interdependent or interrelated fields of CE, ito yung kanyang mukha. No? There's community education, community organizing. When you do community organizing, you actually engage in community education. So, there was one author that said the main characteristic of the main job of development workers is that of educator, that of an educator. Kasi we educate people, no? Okay, what do they do? What do community developers do? They do community assessment. Ito ay research. Okay? That's why you have to really be serious with your research. They can perform tasks, organize citizens. You have to be a good talker. You have to be a good writer, quick thinker when you engage in development work. Very tough, sound mind, effective heart, of course, strategic planning. You have to really well be acquainted with how the house of strategic planning. And then organizational development, okay? Leadership development as well, economic development, public and public, and so on and so forth. So these are important values of CV. Development workers or professionals in CV should be honest, no? Loyal, and so on and so forth. Okay, so please read this one. Read that, read that, read that, read. Okay, so we will see here the objective of education, the educative function of CD ang pinag-uusapan nito. The objective is people's autonomy. By autonomy, we mean, ano ibig sabihin ng autonomy? Ito ay becoming independent. Okay? Um, so agents as educators, they walk with their own feet, free of any tutelage. Initial independence is there, but on the initial stage only. And then let's get to know the field worker. So the field worker, the development worker, the city worker, the community organizer, so all those refer to one in this context. It's important that frontliners, since the program addresses itself more to traditional communities, the field workers must have dedication and proper attitude. Kasi ang ating target clients are the poor. And then, ano pa ang dapat meron siya? Dapat hindi mawala ang interest in development work. And then, anong hinahanap mo incentive? Is it monetary incentive in development work more than, I'm not saying that it doesn't count, but more than the monetary value? Importante yung satisfaction, yung joy, yung glee na nararamdaman natin when we see how people's lives have changed, how they have become empowered. Local leaders have sprung up. So doon, yun, yung parang tinitignan natin na incentives. We have become effective kung yun ay ating makikita. And then insight, dapat meron kang malalim na pagtingin sa mga bagay-bagay in community or issues at hand. Then there ought to be initiative. Dapat ano ka, abrupt, quick thinker. And then your imagination. And there's a common slogan in mathematics. Because ito yung pinakaayaw natin. If you can imagine it, you can do it. So, dapat rich din ang development worker in imagination. Itong faculty na ito, tinitingnan natin na pwede, pwede ma-conceptualize sa isip, imagination, kung paano gagawin yung mga bagay-bagay. And then ingenuity, resourcefulness, or making genuine primary reason and process for ingenuity is akin to managerial or mechanical skill. The skill of devising, combining alternative technologies for that method. And then I think this is very, very self-explanatory. Okay, and then especially if you look at the life of the community organizer. Okay, the community worker is a professional worker focused on collective problems and self-management of the people. So yan, the two tasks of community workers are supporting local initiatives, and so on and so forth. Okay, this is very, very self-explanatory. Okay, tingnan natin ito. Pag-usapan na natin yan. change agent. So this refers to the same community worker. So tignan natin itong si him. This is actually a him. Let me try to see this. I hope I will be able to follow. Inang Pilipinas, narito kami, basta tumawag ka agad magsisilbi. Itong mga anak na subok na pili sa katapatan, dunong kalusugan, puri. Lahat ng dako mo kami ay pupunta. Ngayong ang nais mo'y ika'y guminhawa. Sa mga city workers umasa ka, kaunlad mo'y siyang isasagawa. Halina, tayo na sa mga pamayanan. Mga tao'y dapat natulungan. Palitawin natin ng kanilang linging na kakayahan. Banyakin ang lakas ng tao, samahan, akayin sa mga at sa karunungan hanggang sa makamit ang adhikang bayan. Please learn the song. This is CD. Then this is the city workers screen. You also have to memorize this. We believe in democracy. Democracy as a suitable atmosphere for human development. I believe in the inherent capacity of man to attain a richer life through concerted efforts. I believe in the ability of our people to harness their material and human resources. I believe in the coordination of welfare agencies to bring about conditions of social improvement. I believe that humility and prudence, friendliness and devotion are my basic attributes as a city worker. I believe that I should seek no better reward than to see the happiness of my people and the progress of my country. Okay, so um, I'll stop sharing this.